A community can be defined as a social group of any size whose members reside in a specific locality, share government, and often have a common cultural and historical heritage. Community banks are dedicated to providing services and developing strategic partnerships to improve the local economy. Today, we will look at how community banks are creating a better future for the people they live and work with.
There are very few places remaining inside the republic known as the United States of America that can so readily imbue a person with the level of wonder, humility, and often overwhelming sense of what it means to be free as can the awe-inspiring state of Wyoming. Just saying the name can paint immediate images in one's mind of free roaming livestock, wild horses, the raw power of its natural wonders, and the type of men and women that know what liberty is, what it costs to get it, and what it takes to keep it. With the largest city in this sovereign state of Wyomingites at less than 60,000, values such as community, self-sufficiency, and independence are not lost on most of those calling this state home.
Wyoming is my home. I was born here and have lived here my complete life. It's been very good to me. And early on, you quickly find out in Wyoming, we listen to each other and not the government. It always seems to work a lot better and a lot easier when we communicate with each other. And no doubt most Wyomingites, and the natives at least, are very independent and very willing to help each other.
When it comes to matters economic, Wyoming has had to take the bull by the horns in order to survive. With the too big to fails more concerned with their vision of a global economy, controlled by them and their partners on Wall Street, traditional community banks across the nation are gaining a lot more attention. As more Americans come to the realization that the mega banks have no interest in local, sustainable economic development, there's a growing trend of Americans moving their hard-earned assets into those institutions that are truly community-focused. According to those living and conducting business in Casper, this town would literally not be here today if not for the community bank.
One of the big advantages of doing business with a community bank is you know everybody. I used to, before this, we banked at major banks. I didn't even know who the president of the bank was, let alone meet him or meet any of the vice presidents. You knew the teller, or if you went for a loan, you knew the loan officer that you worked with, but it wouldn't even cross your mind, really, that you were ever going to talk to the president or know who he was. At Jonah, Mark, I think, makes a point to know everybody, or Dick J, who's over at our local branch. I can almost name everybody that works at Jonah Bank. They really stand behind you. I know I went in with a bizarre concept, and somebody, a Mark or whatever, believed in it and believed in me and decided to finance this.
Over the last 6 years, we've probably helped create 100 new businesses here in Wyoming. You know, we look at our niche is making loans to homeowners and to work with small businesses, and we view it as a partnership. If we can help their business succeed, we succeed. If they start a business and fail, we fail too. We're going to lose money. And so it really is a partnership. If we didn't have community banks, we wouldn't have very many small businesses, because the big mega banks that are here in this state are not going to work with the small businesses.
When you walk into the large bank with your idea or your passion, it doesn't matter how much the person sitting across the desk from you agrees with you, buys in, thinks it's a great idea. It makes no difference, because there's 4 layers behind that person that has to approve it. And it's all paper that gets it approved. That's the difference between a community bank and a large bank, because the person across the desk can make the decision.
The reputation of bankers has been damaged tremendously due to the actions of the mega banks and investment banks. A recent poll shows that bankers are the second least respected industry, as only 22% of Americans felt positive about banking. Given today's federally induced economic mayhem, it would only seem natural that a state such as Wyoming would have in its midst those with fortitude necessary to take the economic future of their community into their own hands. Jonah Bank of Wyoming is a community bank that was established in 2006 by a group of Wyoming folks that felt a need for a bank dedicated to building a better Wyoming. Keeping true to the grit, determination, and honest work ethics that forged their cowboy heritage, this bank has its own code. And according to the folks at the bank and those who do business with them, the Jonah Bank Code is what they live by every day.
Sister Susan sent me this little book, Cowboy Ethics, and for Christmas present 2005. I looked through it, quickly determined this was exactly what we wanted a community bank in Wyoming to be. We called the author, James Owen, asked if we could use some of his verbiage, and he said, no, you can't, but you can have it because I want to get this message out. And so one of the founding fathers of the Jonah Bank became Cowboy Ethics. And it's been a neat little code that we've all bought into, and we live and operate the bank with it. The employees have bought into it. And so I attribute some of the success that we've had because of the Jonah Bank Code of Ethics. When we have these hard, difficult decisions to make, which every business person has to face, we look at the back of the Jonah Bank card, and there's the code. And so we can always find one or two that will solve the problem for us.
While the mega banks are receiving free taxpayer money that they in turn loan back to the taxpayers at high interest, community banks are the ones actually paying for it. The large regional and national banks are known for going after the large public deposits, and those deposits end up leaving the state or the country. While unbeknown to most Americans, community banks collectively manage 33% of all deposits and make 67% of the small business loans in our country. This is the true engine of job creation and the best opportunity America has at getting our nation's economy back to where it belongs.
When we are expanding to the east side, Jonah Bank, hands down, that's the only way to go. Knowing that the community bank has your back on a home loan and just supports you so much, you just know that they're going to support you and your business when you're expanding. Mick kind of said, hey, you need to have a presence on the east side, and we want to do everything we can to help you get there. And there's just no ifs, ands, or buts. We're using Jonah Bank because of the support that they've guaranteed us and that we've seen here in the past 5 years.
I think one of the major differences between community banks and large banks is a fact that's relatively little known, and that's that community banks are responsible for 70% of the jobs in the United States. I think what that means is that community banks are involved with their businesses. It's obvious that our banks are located in markets to where the markets fail. If the communities fail that our banks are in, then we're going to fail. And so we have a much deeper understanding, I believe, of that, whereas mega banks, large banks are located, they're dispersed throughout the country, and we're in a couple of markets. And if those go down, we're in trouble. So what we try to do is focus on the needs of our business customers, and we try to loan money that fits their needs.
To learn more about Jonah Bank of Wyoming, visit their website at www.jonahbank.com or call 307-237-4555.